Hello, this is Nina Brown in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we are continuing with a series of live discussions about the book, S.T.A.R, A Now State of Being, with my publisher, Jaylene Clark. You want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
And my co-author, Christy Sweetland, of the next book that we're writing, S.T.A.R Philosophy, The Fascinated Observer's Guide. You want to say hi, Christy?
Hi, everybody.
Beautiful. And we have Diane Ely as our first guest, and we're looking forward to lots more joining us from around the planet. It's been such fun since September. We've been doing these Google Hangouts to have participants from the Netherlands, from Canada, from Israel. I mean, I just don't know all the countries and places from where they come, but we've had very, very intimate, safe discussions, and today we have picked an extraordinary topic. And the choice was made because it is in the United States, February, the month we celebrate St. Valentine. So love is in the air. And that is very definitely the topic we will be discussing today. But we began with the few words, I am worthy. Be the love. I am worthy. How very difficult it has been for me to arrive at a state of being where I not only can say that, but I have embodied it. And perhaps I'm still working on it. It is a process. So, Jaylene, let's start with you. And what would be my question for you? Why is it that it is so difficult to feel worthy?
Well, I think it's some diabolical plan by the divine for us to it.
Sure.
It's like the ultimate setup. Because we had these, everyone has one of these things in our childhood that we go back to that establishes that pattern of where we feel worth and where we don't feel worth in our life. And then it's very simple from there. We spend the rest of our life trying to get past that one event that happened to us that created that whole dynamic. So in some way, I think the journey from worthiness to unworthiness, from worthiness to unworthiness, is just part of the path of being human.
Wow. And I like what you said, the path of being human, because I find myself so often saying that we are divine humans. Mm-hmm. So, Christy, is there something about this topic that has to do with our identity as a human as opposed to our identity as a divine human?
Maybe there is. That's a good question. When you asked the first question, suddenly the concept of original sin popped in my head.
Oh boy.
Being raised Catholic, that was a very real concept for us, the concept of original sin, that we entered kind of dirty.
Oh, good.
And that's something we think about as we're little kids, and we go through all of the stages of the Catholic ritual of trying to get rid of that dirtiness. And I kind of like it in this moment. I haven't thought about that for 20 or 30 years, but in this moment I kind of like that as a metaphor for, it seems like it's something we all have in common. We all have our own process in finding our own worthiness, and that's kind of what the human experience is all about, isn't it?
Yep, Christy, I've got a question for you now. That's a really interesting link that you made instantly in your mind. And so I'm wondering, if you went back into the garden and you're plucking that apple, what if that apple, by tasting the apple, you would know your worthiness and unworthiness? What if that was it in a nutshell?
What if that was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that feels really connected. Like, do we deserve that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what you're saying. How interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But no, I don't know what you're saying because if I eat the apple, certainly I deserve it. Because if I felt unworthy, I wouldn't even look at it.
That's not how the story went.
Well, remind me then.
I think you're absolutely right. That's how I look at it today.
Wow.
Yeah, and then if we look at the lineage that follows after that, back to the idea of what happens with our children and worthiness or unworthiness. What happened with Adam and Eve's children? Well, there was the story of Cain and Abel. One brother killing the other brother. And, the first story of sibling rivalry, so to speak. Uh, so there's something that's just really very innate to the human being. It's almost like um, it's just going to be part of the journey, this whole episode of being able to experience whether I'm worthy or I'm unworthy. And then we've got this like little list that goes along with it of, okay, well, I'm worthy of this because I did this. And it's that whole thing we were talking about a week or so ago, Christy, was the pattern that runs in our head of if I, then I. If I do this, then I can do this. If I learn this, then I am worthy of telling other people about this. So it's the if I, then I. We're back to that again.
Yeah.
So I guess the aha that I've had while pondering this broadcast, could it be as simple, and maybe I'm restating it, as knowing and accepting that we are sovereign beings, that we are an individual aspect of all that is, versus our not accepting that? Because when I'm in the full acceptance that I am part of the one consciousness, how can I be anything but worthy?
Mm-hmm.
So it is my identity with less than that that is causing all of these questions. Does that feel comfortable, Jaylene?
Well, it does feel comfortable. It's identity, it's our personality, it's our persona, it's the experiences that we've had up until this point that determine our ability to feel worthiness in any given moment in our lifetime. But I think once we exit the body, that it becomes it's not even relevant any longer once we are back in that original state that we come from. I just can't see, hanging out in the spiritual realm, outside my physical body going, hey, do you think I deserve this? I mean, I just don't see that being part of it. Maybe in some wonderful comedic movie, but I don't see it even being relevant anymore, but yet it's so relevant to us now. It's like, I feel like we're walking through these stages of evolution as beings where, we're visiting some of these things that we've carried along with us for the whole history of humanity and going, I just don't think we need that anymore. And worthiness or unworthiness is one of the things. Because then, in order to be worthy or unworthy, we have to backtrack that one more level and go, I have to judge myself. If I judge myself, then I can determine if I'm worthy or unworthy. But if I take away the ability to be able to judge myself, it's irrelevant.
Christy, do you think that what we're talking about is the different octaves again?
I think it is. It's making that quantum jump into the dimension where we exist as our spirit self. I think it's really hard for some people to accept the concept of human divinity, because it seems like there's a default of, oh God, I can't even look at that. I can't even go there, and it's hidden behind the concept of blasphemy. All sorts of things that are just not, they're untouchable. And yeah, I think when you make that octave jump into that place where the hierarchies disappear and we realize that we are all coming from a place of oneness, then it seems very natural.
So I guess one of my questions, and Diane, can we bring you in now on this discussion? And maybe I'll ask you the question. Who is it that feels unworthy? And I'll give you the answer.
That was an easy one, Diane.
Thank you. All right. Next question.
I think it's Nina that feels unworthy, and that's not who I am. For me, that's how I'm expressing. So it is the ego personality, and I think we're just saying the same thing over and over again here. It is the ego personality that feels unworthy, and not my wholeness, and not my divine humanity, not my sovereignty. And of course, that's why we're writing all these books, is to share the beyond the knowing, the accepting of the answer to my favorite question, who are you? So Diane, since I asked the question, answered the question, do you have a question? First of all, share with everybody who you are and why we love you.
Well, this topic was interesting to me because I realized not that long ago, a few months ago, that that I have not been loving myself unconditionally. And I've said for a long time that if you're talking about love, it's unconditional. To use the phrase unconditional love is an oxymoron. You don't need to do that. Because if it's not unconditional, then it's something else. It is not love.
Good.
But I had not been realizing that was the way I was feeling about myself. Well, I could only love myself in certain circumstances, but not in others. That was a bit of a rude shock, but it was apparently one I needed. So I've been really looking at that a lot. So the way I was hearing this when you all were talking about this a bit ago, about the worthiness thing, is very much what Jaylene was talking about, is that involves a judgment. Whether I judge myself to be worthy or unworthy, I'm still judging. And as long as I'm judging, then I'm into putting all kinds of conditions on myself. And yes, it is what I would call an ego adaptation. Mm-hmm. It's not who we really are. It's not who we came in to be. It's not, it's real, but it's not real.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You know, when I am working on my 2013 dictionary, and I don't think all the listeners know what that is, but when we moved into this new 26,000-year cycle, it seemed clear to me that the vibration of some of the words that I had been using would not serve me or us in the co-creation of the new way of being on Earth. And so I bumped a couple of words out and have moved several of them up into different octaves. And one of my measurement sticks is to ask the question, does Source hope, as an example? Does Source forgive? Well, the same thing would be true with the word worthy. Does Source any of those things consider itself unworthy or worthy, and is that in the dictionary of the future?
I've got
So
something to
go
say
ahead.
about that. I've got something to say. I was, as you were talking, Christy's flashing into the Garden of Eden, and I'm flashing into this vision that I had, and it was during the spring when I was launching Gather Insight, which was a very intense portion of my life. And I was having this vision. It was interesting because it was coming right around Easter that I had it. And the vision that I had was on the downfall of humanity that we hear so much about. If we go into the Bible as a sacred text, we would learn about the downfall of man. And the vision that I was getting was that after the downfall occurred, that the divine had sent in these beings, these angelic beings, these messengers from God, to get the people who had fallen, because they had fallen into this pit, into this sludge that was on the planet, and they fell asleep. And I think that worthiness, unworthiness, judgment, not being judgmental, loving, unconditional loving, all those are just traps. They're like sludge, mud that we get stuck into. When really, what's this all about? When I go to something that I adore about you, Nina, and something that I adore so much about the star philosophy, it's about play. And when I think about am I worthy or am I unworthy, boy, that does not feel like play to me.
Oh, I love it.
It does not. So, I mean, I'd love to look at that aspect and see if there's a way. Like there's your measuring stick. I love your measuring stick because I heard that instead of judgment. You're using your measuring stick instead of judging. Love that. Love that. But can we use that measuring stick and see how much fun am I having? How much play do I have in my life? Does this feel like a playful situation or a dense situation? Well, you know what? I'd much rather be in a playful situation right now. And if I can't be in a playful situation, then I'd rather go take a salt bath, or or go do something just to switch up that energy. But I think when we're caught in that battle between I am worthy, I am unworthy, I am worthy, I am unworthy, all we're doing is in the same sludge.
Jaylene, I think you've done something, again, miraculous, because if you go back and you look at the question in the first paragraph of the email I sent out to announce this call, I ask if there are any tools that we can discover in order to help in this worthy-unworthy situation. Christy, do you think we were just given one? Is play, using the measurement stick of play, could that be a tool to help move us out of the sludge?
I think play moves us out of every trap. I really do, but I don't think it's easy for someone who has a foundational struggle with worthiness to see it that way.
What do you think that someone who's having that kind of struggle could use as a tool to get them to that place where they could play? Go ahead, Nina.
Put my hand up. I think it is a tool, what I'm about to say, for so many things. Intention. Nina, the ego personality, does not have the answers to all the problems and questions and situations in my life. I don't, in case I don't. So, what do I do, and where are the answers? Well, the answers are within me, in my inner wisdom, in the divinity that I am. So, my truth is that Nina can hold an intention and command the field. So my intention is to move into a state of feeling worthy. And I don't know how to do that, but that's my intention. And I'm going, star philosophy. I'm going to surrender that intention to the field with no expectation, no past or future emotions attached to it, and trust that my human divinity knows the answer and will, the rest of the words really well, allow and receive.
Okay, I got a question for you. Are you okay?
I'm the one that gives the questions. Christy, are you ready for a
you're not going to lob this one at me, Nina. You have to
Okay,
answer.
Diane. Go ahead.
Nina. All right. So, we're dreaming into this new reality, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if we're dreaming into this new reality, and the word worthy and the word unworthy had been eradicated from the human experience, what would it be like then?
I love what you're saying, because I think the reason I brought the dictionary up is, I think I'd like to kick it out of the dictionary.
Well, tell us more. Get us on your soapbox with you. Let's go.
Well, it goes back to the acceptance of who I am. I am not Nina. I am not a grandmother. I am not an author. I am, period. Mm-hmm. So, we go back to that broadcast we did on I accept that I am. So who is it that's accepting? Well, it's the ego personality, Nina, is accepting that I am. And I am, as the source of all consciousness, is not playing around with the word worthy and unworthy. So if that's who I am, why would I have it in my dictionary?
Okay, well, insert new terminology to replace worthy, unworthy.
Well, all that I am is love.
Yes.
The rest is an experience. The rest is an expression. The rest is an illusion. And it's part of the University of Earth, where we are here to fool around with separation, which is an illusion. So it's a process that we're going through, and it's all perfect, and there's nothing wrong with any of this, and there's nothing wrong with the word worthy, just like there's nothing wrong with the word hope. It served us as an experience to move us to this new octave of, okay, we don't need it anymore.
I have a question.
Oh, help, Diane!
And anybody can answer it. Nina, you're off the hot seat. If you have an answer, great. Anyone can answer it. I'm sure that you do. So I was just sitting here thinking, when Jaylene said, what would happen if we suddenly lost our worthy, unworthy program? And I immediately thought, gosh, that would eliminate fear, because worthy and unworthy seems to be a direct fuel for fear. If I say something that's going to be perceived as dumb or stupid or unworthy, and that makes us, I think that fuels the whole concept of authentic and inauthentic. So in our new dictionary, does the word authentic and inauthentic even have a place? If all is perfect, is every expression authentic?
I love this, and maybe this dictionary that has not had any new words submitted to it yet, so I'm waiting, will ultimately kick out all dualistic words.
I've only found one word in the entire English language that's non-dualistic.
Besides love?
Love's still dualistic, because you can imply unloved at the same time.
Okay, good.
The only word that I found, so this is really tricky. The only word that I found is music, because music contains both sound and silence. there's silence between the notes, and there's sound present in music. So it's the only term I've been able to identify so far that couldn't go either way. So how do we create this whole brand new language?
Well, you know what you've just done? You have created a book that is one word long.
Right, right, right. It's about, the space in between the notes.
Beautiful. Wow. So, Diane, do you have the answers to all of this?
No, I'm just here sitting here petting my cat. Who could really give a rat's behind about any of this?
So Diane didn't tell anybody who she is. Diane Ely is one of Jaylene's beloved authors. So you want to put a little commercial in there about the title of your book?
Your Creative Soul.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
And we should read it because
it's time to get to know your creative soul. And the book's going to show you how to do that. And enjoy yourself and have fun with it.
I love this. We now have commercials on our broadcast.
Yes, thank you very much. Available from the back seat of my car. No, from the Gather Inside website.
I think Diane's being too humble. Diane, tell them what your degree is in.
Which one? What?
Sorry. Okay. Well, just tell us
which
what
one?
Your degree is. Go on, honey. Go ahead.
Okay. You mean a bachelor's in speech, a
right?
Master's in government press relations, and then a PhD in behavioral science.
Yes. Yes.
And she's a stand-up comic as well.
Yes, she is. She does improv.
I do comedy improv. That's true.
But she's not improving very much for us today.
No. Okay, my real PhD I'm still working on is on patience, humor, and detachment. Did you mean that one?
Well, any of those will do.
Okay, fine.
Well, Diane's the author of several books. Your Creative Soul is the latest one that she has out. She also, you might know her better from the Woman's Book of Creativity that came out in the mid-'90s and was published by Beyond Words Publications, or Publishing. So she's been around for a while. She's a creative guru. She's teaching people about creativity. When she wrote the Woman's Book of Creativity, no one had looked at it from a specifically feminine aspect. And now with Your Creative Soul, she's gone one more level with that. It was not just from the feminine creative, but what does the soul look like when it creates?
Mm-hmm. You know, Jaylene, we're a little off topic, and I want to stay there for a second because I think it's so interesting to me what makes you a visionary publisher. When we went to Ohio to the conference with all of your authors,
mm-hmm.
I've been at conferences with publishers before, and usually it's a table with books on it and somebody like you standing behind it selling books and taking orders. But you did it totally differently. You had a table per book with the author behind the table. So for me, it was the living book.
Mm-hmm.
So Diane, behind the table of her book is the living book. And Nina, behind the table of her book, is the living book. It is breathtaking. And in October, when we go back, I think we're going to have a whole wall full of tables, which means we're going to have a whole wall full of living books. And it's just something I just had to digress on because I've never seen anything like it. So I really, really, really commend you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love what I do. And every step in my life has been a preparation for where I am right now. So not everybody gets that. Not everyone hears that call and answers. and it takes an enormous amount of courage to do that. And it becomes so ordinary for me, which is really strange because it does become very ordinary to me. Other people see it as extraordinary, and I see it as I just took another breath, you know? And that's what it's like for me with everyone that I work with. Everyone that I work with, they have something very extraordinary to share. And so the ability has been given to me to be able to kind of push that out a little bit more.
Well, and staying off topic, Christy is in knee deep in becoming the living book. Would you say that's true, Christy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, yes. Christy's name for the book is The Fascinated Observer. So this process of becoming a fascinated observer is quite fascinating, isn't it?
Well, and Jaylene, the thing is that you are living them all.
Yes.
And you're hot into living the book we're writing right now, the S.T.A.R. Philosophy, Fascinated Observer's Guide. So getting back on topic, the second half of the title is Be the Love. And I just want to share with you where that came from. For me, I was moving, as we all did, from the old paradigm to the new, the last 26,000 year cycle to the new one. And it just became my truth that for me, my work was done. I had fixed grids, I had upshifted human DNA, I had, gone to Egypt and unlocked codes that were stored prehistory, et cetera, et cetera. And so many people across, so many star seeds across the planet have done the work. Thank heavens. And then it occurred to me, what's next? What do I do now? I don't have any more grids to fix. and the answer that came pounding into me was be the love. And obviously it is be the love of source. And that was it. Just be the love. So what came through again was the activation, Be the Love, which is how we chose to start the book. And the book we're referring to now is S.T.A.R, A Now State of Being. And I think Jaylene was just brilliant when you placed it at the beginning of the book. And well, why don't you explain what your rationale was?
Well, my rationale was, it was such a powerful statement that instead of an introduction to the book, I wanted to take people directly into the frequency that was love. And so I thought, well, rather than read a preface or to read an introduction, oh, you're supposed to do this, this, and this, and let's do this breath. Let's just be the love. Let's set an octave for people, a statement that they can say out loud and hear their own voice saying it, that prepares them for reading the rest of the book. So that was my hit on that.
So let me, since maybe some of the viewers have not seen the book or know what it is we're talking about, it actually takes up 3 pages, so I'm not going to read it, but I would like to read just a little bit of it. Individually and collectively, I am enveloped in the love of the divine creator. I express gratitude and appreciation. I hold the intention to focus the totality that I am, bringing all aspects into crystalline clear alignment. I hold the intention that by means of the conscious attunement of the totality that I am, that I may experience the fullness of the octaves of light that are ever present. And on it goes. And to read it aloud is, I think, a very, very powerful frequency shift.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
my happy memories of that process with you are the love and joy that occurred for us as we were selecting each one of the words, and how many words came in, and one would be, oh, I want to come in here, and then we'd think about it, oh, that sounds great, and then a few minutes later we'd be like, that's not quite it. And we had many phone calls going back and forth to select those words, but I remember how precise we want it to be.
well, I think that has a lot to do with you. Because precision and choice of words in the book, in all of your books, is your gift. Let's say hi to Yvonne in the
Hello,
Netherlands,
good
who
evening.
just jumped in there.
Hi there.
So Yvonne, just say hello and introduce yourself to the people who are listening, if you would.
Oh, hello. Yvonne, I live in the Netherlands and enjoy connecting to S.T.A.R whenever I can.
And Yvonne, do you know Diane Ely in Texas? Have you met each other
I've
before?
never met her, no. Hi.
Hi there. I'm actually in Arizona.
Arizona, sorry.
Both
Arizona.
are embarrassing states to be from. So
I should say from the United States, and then I get away with it better.
Diane, you just moved to New Mexico.
There you go.
So, be the love. My little introduction about how, for me, this current, and I call it this year, this 26,000-year cycle, is a time for being and not doing. Certainly, I don't mean that you're supposed to be complacent and sit in your chair and do nothing. If some of you remember Dr. Oh gosh, Amit Goswami, the theoretical quantum physicist, when we had our first S.T.A.R clinic, he had a little song which was doobie 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 doobie, which I just love. And his point, I hope I quote him properly, was that we cannot be in a meditative state 24/7. And so his thought was, be in the world, do your job, do your taxes, but periodically bring your conscious awareness to your heart and then go back and do again. So not 6 hours of meditation, just this wonderful rhythm of doobie, 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 doobie. So, what do you think about that, Yvonne? Let's get some thoughts from the Netherlands.
Well, a part of my yoga training was that they called it practicing the presence of God, to actually keep part of your consciousness inside of you all the time. So in that sense, it's not a meditative state, but it is an internal awareness state that you can actually develop and concentrate and love God all the time if you choose to. So just want to throw that in.
Beautiful. Christy, you have a thought on that?
I think it's a great concept. I just don't think it's really easy for people to understand. What does it take to just, I think it's great to sit here and talk about, have the intention to do this, but I don't think it's easy for people to understand how to do that. And I do see a lot of people struggling right now with making sort of the third to fifth dimensional jump, and sort of feeling like there's one authentic them, and that they're really not expressing at that octave. So I like this in that it's like it's an easy concept to say, let's get rid of duality. It's really, I don't think, that easy for people to make that jump.
I love that, and of course that's why there's a chapter or a section in the book called Simple but Not Easy, or I guess that's what we called it. And I think you're absolutely right. It's a process. Thank heavens,
Yeah.
because having it just tomorrow be the way we want it, I don't know. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun to me.
I love Diane's book, Your Creative Soul, because I think it's a lot of that is really connecting with who we are on a soul level. That we're not our roles, we're not Nina, we're not the grandmother, we're not Christy, the coach. You know, it's about Amit's word about, you know, just doobie. It really is about sort of just letting go, and just rather than beating ourselves up for not being authentic or not having the qualities that we want, just really connecting with loving how we're expressing in the moment. And I also think that's what S.T.A.R is all about.
I love that. And there's a section in the book somewhere where I wrote, and I don't know what I wrote, frankly, I can't remember, but it had something to do with we're no longer seeking perfection, we are perfection.
Mm-hmm.
We're perfection expressing perfection. And so it goes back to the point, which is it's all perfect. It's all perfect, all of it. The process of thinking we're unworthy and moving into we are worthy, and then moving into wherever we move into, it's all perfect. And
Yeah. So I think it starts with compassion, and only when we learn what, I guess, how to honor ourselves with compassion, because believe it or not, some people have a hard time saying that they have self-love. I've worked with people who can't connect with that and say, don't tell me I need to love myself, because I don't connect with that. And you know, so what you said earlier about intention, setting the intention. Okay, so maybe I don't know how to love myself in this moment, but my intention is that I open to that.
bingo.
And I think that the first step is compassion. We can have compassion for ourselves, no matter. We can have compassion for any being, no matter how we are internally judging. Because when we don't love ourselves, we're judging ourselves. And it's really easy to say, let's just not judge. But that's more, you know, a lot of people aren't there yet.
Different octave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, we can have the intention. Go ahead, Jaylene.
Well, the other thing about being there or not being there, it's, you know, it's that old saying, enlightenment is like arriving and arriving and arriving and arriving. You know, it's like that with self-love as well. Because one moment we might love ourselves, the next moment we might have something go on and we're just not even able to connect with that. One moment we might be able to love other people, and the next moment something happens that makes it very difficult for us to love that individual. It's a moving target. It's a constantly moving target, I think.
You know, I think there's one piece of it that maybe we can discuss, and it's the difference between choosing subconsciously and choosing consciously. I think for me, I'm seeing a lot of the star seeds moving into a more choosing consciously state of being. So I don't really know why I brought that up or what I'm trying to say here. Yes, I do. What is that word? Oh, golly. I have to read my own book. Anyway, there's a word in the book somewhere, and it came from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it no, I can't remember. Anyway, it's
Metacognition?
Metacognition, maybe that's it. It's the human's ability to observe oneself. And I don't know if dogs can do that. But Nina can observe how I behaved at a certain event. I can observe how I spoke to Diane. I can observe how the love I have for Yvonne. And once I make that observation, then I have the subconscious or the conscious choice of what I want to do next. So more and more moving into the conscious choice, I think, is where I want to go. And that's my intention, and that's my choice, is to be consciously making the choices. Maybe
Okay, I've got a challenge for you with that concept.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tie in play with conscious. How would that look?
And you know, one of the things we talked about on our weekly book creation call with Christy is that there's more than one definition of play. And the definition of play that I have been using is living in the now moment. So sticking with that, since I wrote a whole book about it, I guess I probably should. Being in the now. So if I am consciously choosing, it would be without expectation or emotions from the past or the future, wouldn't it?
Well, I think that we can intend for that to be, but right now, as a human on the planet, I think it's very difficult to not have those things enter our being as we're making those choices.
Mm-hmm.
We still have some external baggage to carry around, and I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like I should have rollers on that suitcase, and I don't. I'm just schlepping it along with me. So I think there's something that occurs in the middle of that allows us to leave our identity out of it.
Detach?
Not even detach, but it's about identity. It's
Mm-hmm.
like our identity is attached to what that looks like. Does that make any sense? I mean, that baggage that we're carrying around with us, this is part of who we are. This is part of who we've learned to be.
You know, Jaylene, what seems to be happening with me is what you're saying is absolutely true. Nina will have that baggage in so many experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have observed is that something is clicking within me, moving me now almost automatically into the fascinated observer. I'll go back to that story I tell over and over and over again about the Prius and it breaking down and my sitting there saying, oh, woe's me.
Mm-hmm.
I did not consciously say, stop it, Nina.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow or other switched gears, and the poor me disappeared. And I heard myself saying, oh, I think I'll just have this experience.
Right. So what you're doing is you've still got that bag that you're carrying around that is the Nina that you have these years of experience being on the planet. But what's different is now you can see the baggage that you're carrying around with you a little more clearly. So if it starts to be too difficult for you to carry, you can go, oh, whatever, and just keep going, right?
And I think it's some have described it as having a foot in two different dimensions.
Yes.
If you want to use that, one in third and one in fifth.
Right.
And I can see it, and it happens more and more and more and more. And I think where we're moving is, in that direction where we won't even have to have the woe is me, poor me, piece of it.
Right. So before you could have an experience where you would instantly move into this paradigm of thought that said, how did I get myself into this mess? And then now you're at this place where you're going, what kind of opportunity is this mess going to bring me?
Absolutely. And with fascination.
Right.
Why did I create this? And it has a lot to do with my knowing that I am the creator of my reality and accepting the responsibility for it.
So what I'm hearing you say is that this is a shift in approach.
Yeah, and it's not, again, back to subconscious and conscious. That particular experience was not a conscious choice. So something inside of me is becoming habitual, I guess.
Good. It's a good habit.
Yeah. I
Good.
want Christy back. Christy, get back on here. I feel lopsided. So, Yvonne, what do you think about all this?
Well, it's lovely just to listen and hear your sharing, and I think we are living from a different perspective and able to be in two dimensions or more at the same time, and we're doing it with ease because it feels like a lot of the heaviness and a lot of the stuff that needed to be cleared out, for me anyway, feels like it's been cleared out, and you know, life's a lot easier and a lot more fun and a lot more even keeled and gentle and loving, and having gentle and loving responses, and it's good.
Well, you know, it's so amazing having you say that. Hopefully, a lot of our viewers have read the last newsletter in which you share your story. For someone to have had so many concurrent life-threatening experiences and to be able to speak the way you just spoke is astounding and a true testament. I'll use my words, of the S.T.A.R philosophy, but of this shift.
I'm afraid I'm not able to hear you at the moment. Something wrong with my technology, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, we'll just talk about you then.
Nice. Nice.
So, Diane, what do you think about all this?
I don't know. It's all just running around in my head right now.
My sound's gone. Let me try that. I'll go.
You know, I look up the top shelf of my desk, and I see Walter the farting dog, and
Censor. Bleep, bleep.
This is Walter.
Oh. Yes, right.
Did you hear that? I don't know if that's coming across. Nice. But that's what I have my clients do when, well, I mean, with the dog, of course, not with them. When they're getting entirely too serious. And so, see, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make you laugh because I thought it was getting entirely too serious. I really think we have to laugh our way through this evolution. If we don't, we're just dead in the water.
Yeah,
just dead in the water. And I mean, yes, it's really good to have people to talk about these concepts and so on. But the bottom line is, we're here to go through this together, and how are we going to do that? What does that look like? I'm not sure, but
oh yes, you are. It's all about play. Look at that.
It's really all about play. That's one of the profound things I learned when I was writing Your Creative Soul.
Yeah,
I knew that, but I learned it again, big time.
it's beautiful. Wow. So, I think it's time to tell a story. So I'm going to go back and tell a story that's in the book and is more about the I am worthy piece of this title. When I was going through my mess, that's a judgment word, in the 90s, and divorce and trying to make a living and losing my piggy bank and all of those things. I was invited to go to the forum, and what is it, Landmark Education, the forum, for a weekend. And they asked me after this life-changing weekend to have a friend tell me 4 things that he liked about me and 4 things that he didn't. Well, the astounding thing about that exercise was, at the time, I could remember what it was that he disliked about me, but I could not remember what he liked about me. I couldn't hold the frequency of those words. That was a stage in my evolution of consciousness and evolution of self-love and using the word worthiness that is so memorable for me. Does anyone have any experience like that they can share? Oh, good.
No, you're all alone there, Nina.
See, I was looking at Christy because I knew she was thinking something.
Well, I'm just trying to sort. There's like a big cloud of 1,000 examples. I completely resonate with that.
And you know, I probably should try the exercise again to see whether I have I've changed. You know, that would be interesting. Well, we're coming up to the end of the hour, so I think maybe what might be appropriate at this particular point is to just have some farewell comments. So, Yvonne, you want to wave goodbye from the Netherlands?
Yeah, back on sound. Yes, thank you for sharing, Nina. It's indeed, it's like giving ourselves permission to like ourselves is one of the hugest ones to actually acknowledge and to live with. And once you've got it, it feels kind of good to stay there or to keep going, to appreciate ourselves and come from a positive thinking, feeling place. So, great, thank you.
Well, Yvonne, I think you absolutely have moved into that space, and what is so remarkable about it is that you and many others, so many others, have become a model for others. Because I think one of the tools or one of the ways that we move into a new state of being is to surround ourselves with masters. And you are a master, and you are embodying it for other people. So I love you and commend you.
Thank you. You're a beautiful mirror.
So Diane, you want to wave goodbye from Arizona?
Bye.
And how about your little doggy? Does your doggy want to wave too?
She's got a kitty cat.
You know, when I was in college, and I'm going to let fly another possibly to be deleted word, but my best friend in college called me hard ass Ely. And I had this great belief that I could do it all alone by myself. That's where that came from. And when I began doing energy healing over 25 years ago, one of the very strong messages that I got right off the bat was, you are not designed to do this alone. And I think that wasn't just about the healing. It was about this whole process that we're talking about. It's about our evolution. It's about all of us getting together and saying, what does this look like? What does this look like for you? What has it looked like for you in the last 24 hours? Because that's sort of about the way we're going here, because change is moving so fast. So, yeah, just, this has been wonderful. I appreciate the opportunity. always love to connect. And Patch and I say thank you very much. She's back up here again.
I love that. And you know, Diane, you touched on a really important point, and I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm going to say it again tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow because it's so important. And why are we doing this? Why are we having this broadcast? Why are we coming together? Why are we having dialogue and discussion? My truth is that we're co-creating the new way of being on Earth, the next golden age. And I can't do it alone. I don't think you can do it alone. And in quantum physics, it is the words that we choose out of our new dictionary and the thoughts that emanate from us that go out into the field as waves of possibility, and they are exponentially entangled when there is more than one. So these broadcasts might seem like one person, two people, 100 people. They are enormously powerful. And so I thank you all for participating in that. So Christy, you want to wave goodbye from next door, Santa Fe?
Yes, and I lost my internet for 5 minutes, so that was...
No, we missed you!
I was like, "Wah!" But I want... I just want to thank everybody because I think I think that you all brought up some really good points, and, you know, in a nutshell, reminders that this time is about keeping it light, keeping it fun. And I loved it when Jaylene said, you know, at some point we just have to decide we've arrived. Just make the declaration. We're here. It's not a struggle. We've arrived, and from this foundation we build. So just great reminders, and just glad to be here. Love you all.
Beautiful, Christy. I love that. And play, play, play. Christy's in the midst of writing a chapter on play, dreaming, and manifestation. And what was the first line in that paragraph about play?
I never thought the concept of play could so thoroughly kick my ass.
Honored to that.
And then I quickly followed by saying, thank heavens you wrote that and not me, because my mother would roll over today.
Well, for whoever hasn't seen the Lego movie, mm-hmm. I consider it a spiritual film, and
wow.
I think everyone should see it, and pick out who you are on any given moment, because it's a great movie about subpersonalities and psychosynthesis, and yeah, and it was an awakening for me, so
wow.
Which is
another advertisement.
Really take the kitties and tell me what you think.
Wow, we can blog on it. What fun. So, Jaylene, how about a wave from Oklahoma?
Hi. Bye.
Oh.
It's been a lot of fun today. You know, it's a very deep subject that we've gone into. It's not one that most people can go into with a light heart. So I'm hoping that there'll be lighter hearts from listening to the discussion, and that feeling that, you know, we're not alone in this at all. Mm-hmm. We're not at all alone in this.
Well, you know, some of the feedback that I've gotten about these hangouts is how much the childlike laughter is appreciated. Mm-hmm. So, Diane, I think it's your point exactly, that we don't want to get too serious about all this, and I think we really have a good time on these calls. And on that topic, before I hit the stop button, on March the 18th, you're all invited back, and bring your friends.
March 22nd. No, that's April. Never mind. Sorry. I'm butting in and I shouldn't.
No, that's okay. Anyway, I'm going to be here on the 18th. How about you, Christy and Jaylene?
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to do the reschedule of grace. We had some extraordinary experiences over the past couple of months and had to cancel and move things around. So we've had lots and lots and lots of time to come up with some creative thoughts on what grace is and how it applies to the philosophy of S.T.A.R. So I look forward to that. And so, as I say in Belgium with my grandchildren, bisous, bisous, bisous.
Bye.
Bye.